Welcome to another Ruthie World movie review. I do believe my last movie review was done back in December of 2011, and I was thinking really long and hard. Now, what was the last movie I saw? Oh, I was thinking and thinking. Finally it came to mind the last movie I saw. The last movie I went to the movies to see was Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Yeah. And I remember that was like the weekend before Christmas last year or something like that. It was the time I spent $6 for popcorn. Just so you know, never again will that happen. But so this is a review on the movie I went to see this past Saturday, April 7th, which is, I think, is going into its third week of the Hunger Games. And, you know, I heard about the Hunger Games, but only just 2 weeks ago when it first came out, you know, people was talking about the Hunger Games. I kept on seeing Hunger Games ads on my computer, and I'm like, Hunger Games, what is that? What is it? And, Mike Adams from Natural News did a review on the Hunger Games, and the reason why he did a review because he feels like this is what we're headed. This type of thing is what we're headed to as a I don't know, group of people, as a race of people, as a country, as a culture. You know, where poor people have to go out and fight to the death to entertain rich people and the elite of our society. Now, I hope it don't come to that. And I like to think that it won't come to that. But it's kind of extreme, you know. And it kind of reminds me of what the Romans did to the Christians back, you know, when they were sacrificing Christians in the arenas of Rome just to entertain the wealthy people, you know? So I kind of don't like that concept for a movie. And it's for that reason that I did give the movie 4 stars. Otherwise, I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was entertaining. And my first thought in looking at the movie, I couldn't figure out what year it was. I was looking at it and I was like, what year are they in? Because the way they looked, it kind of reminded me of like the 1930s. And then I said, nope, that can't be it. Because it's a futuristic movie. It's very futuristic in that, you know, this blood sport called the Hunger Games is done to entertain the rich people. And what they do is they get 2 people from each district. So there's like 12 districts. So that means there's 2 people from each district, which totals up to 24 people. And these are young people, for anywhere from age like, I don't know, 8, 10 to 18. It looks to be. Because the main character, Katniss Everdeen, who ultimately is one of the people that's fighting to the finish to, you know, for survival and all, she ultimately ends up going to the game. And that's because her sister, who's like, she looked to be maybe 10, she was the one that was actually chosen, but Katniss knew if her sister went, she wasn't going to make it. So she volunteered to go. So apparently that was the first time ever that somebody actually volunteered to go to the Hunger Games to fight. And, you know, she's brave and she's a warrior and, you know, she's good at what she does. And she goes to the place wherever they go. They had to get on a fast-moving train to get there. And one of the first things that they were enticing them with was food. All the food they could eat, you know, eating like kings and eating like the Romans, so to speak. You got food all over. And you could tell that the people, you know, they just live in the life of debauchery and everything in extreme and you know, the opulence of being wealthy and they're using all of that to, I don't know, make them feel better before they die. You know, they get to be on a talk show and Stanley Tucci is the host and, you know, he's acting all, you know, just like insane. And he's you know, he's interviewing all of the people that's competing. And they're talking and all this stuff. And, let me talk about the people that are in the movie. There's only 4 people in the movie that I recognize. Stanley Tucci, Lenny Kravitz, Woody Harrelson, and Donald Sutherland. Those are the only people that I recognize for the movie. And also the lady from Sons of Anarchy. She played Maureen. And I was really excited to see Lenny Kravitz. Is that Lenny Kravitz? Oh, Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz. I was so glad that that was him. And I didn't really know for sure that it was him until after, you know, when closing credits was rolling. I said, that was Lenny Kravitz. So it was nice to see him. And he had a pretty prominent role. You know, he encouraged Katniss to do what she does. You know, he encouraged her to be herself. And you know, so that was good. And Woody Harrelson's role, he was like a mentor to the two people chosen from District 12, which is the district they were from. And of course, they were being marketed as a love-struck, star-crossed lovers or some old nonsense like that. Sound like Romeo and Juliet nonsense. But anyway, the guy ultimately ended up being in love with Katniss. But Katniss ended up, who's the heroine of the movie, she's a compassionate person, just like Mike Adams said that she is. You know, he talks about how the way poor people are being treated in this country, that it could very well end up being something to this extent. And I'm thinking, no. But, of course, Katniss was poor. They were very poor, living in, like, the slums or the ghetto, whatever you want to call it. And so, you know, like I said, two young people are chosen from each of these poor districts to entertain, for the entertainment of the wealthy. I thought the movie was very interesting. Like I said, I had never heard of Hunger Games until this movie came out. But apparently it's a famous book, I guess, you know, that teenagers read. And was it also a video game? I'm not even sure about that. But of course, a lot of people were anticipating this movie. And I thought it was well done. It was filmed in North Carolina. And the people would send, there's people sitting at these big, gigantic boards, you know, high-tech boards. And they're creating these conditions under which they have to fight and you know, they have to try and survive. I mean, they can control the weather. They had some type of genetically modified wasps created. They had created holograms of these lifelike animals that, I don't know, ate one guy up. But I enjoyed the movie. And I think that with Katniss being the way that she was, she kind of adds a side of humanity to the film, and you know, ultimately she did win, but she had a trick up her sleeve, and apparently it worked. So I would give it, again, I gave the movie 4 stars because I kind of don't like the concept of what the movie represents. But it was a good movie, and the movie is over 2 hours long. I believe it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and the rolling credits are almost just as long. I'm exaggerating, of course, but I would say the closing credits rival Star Wars. There are no opening credits, so the closing credits are pretty long. And I enjoyed it, and I feel that this movie is just going to be the beginning of another movie franchise. And going to the movies, one of the things that I enjoy about going to the movies is I enjoy seeing opening, what you call it, trailers. I enjoy trailers because, you know, first of all, it gives you an idea of what to expect, of what's coming out, albeit sometimes when they show previews, the movie is not coming out for a year. I remember when they did the previews for the last Planet of the Apes movies, and I could have sworn they said this movie is directed by John Singleton, from director John Singleton. I don't know, maybe I misunderstood something. Maybe they didn't mean that he was going to be director. Maybe he was executive producer. I don't know. But I thought he was the director, and after the movie came out, I was wrong. But so trailers, I enjoy trailers, and when I went to see Hunger Games recently, I saw 5 trailers. The first one was for Dark Shadows. It's a Tim Burton movie, and of course it stars Johnny Depp. And I gotta tell you, I was very disappointed because I grew up with Dark Shadows back in the late 60s, early 70s, and I know of Dark Shadows, and it was like a famous vampire gothic love story that we just loved. We would race home from school at 3 o'clock to see Dark Shadows, and that's all we talked about was Dark Shadows, Barnabas Collins, Angelique, Quentin. And we just loved it. It was a serious, pretty scary series. It was considered a soap opera, gothic nonetheless, but it was still considered a soap opera. And it was we saw it in black and white. And we just loved it. And now here comes Tim Burton, and he's going to do a remake of Dark Shadows, and it's going to be a comedy with Johnny Depp and a couple of other people that I just didn't. I was like, I can't believe that he's making this out to be a comedy. So needless to say, I won't be going to see that. And I said something on Facebook that wasn't really nice, but I said it, and I'm sticking to my guns about it. You know, it's how I felt. But there seems to be lots of mixed feelings about the movie, but I think that mostly people are disappointed because they wasn't not expecting a comedy. Not at all, because Dark Shadow was pretty scary, you know. The second preview was for Snow White and the Huntsman, I believe it is. And Charlize Theron is in that, along with Kristen Stewart, who is from the Twilight Saga. That looks interesting. I do believe I will go see that before I go see Dark Shadows. Yes. And then there's going to be a 4th Spider-Man movie. I didn't recognize anybody from that trailer. So, Spider-Man number 4, and the saga continues. Then there was the movie called The Host, and I believe that's a Stephanie Meyer's story, and she is the author of the Twilight Saga. And it didn't show much of a trailer, but it just put it out there that it's coming out, you know, sometime, I think, like next year. And the last movie was the Twilight Saga, the Twilight Part 2 of something. And again, that stars Kristen Stewart, of course. And I believe that's it. Dark Shadows, Snow White and the Huntsman, Spider-Man, The Host, and Twilight. So those movies are forthcoming, and I guess we will be hearing about them really soon. So thank you very much for tuning into this episode of Ruthie World Cinema, where I previewed the movie The Hunger Games, which has been out for about 3 weeks. And from what I understand, for the first 2 weeks after its release, it's been the #1 movie in the country. And then there were a couple of trailers: Dark Shadows, Spider-Man, Snow White and the Huntsman, The Host, and the continuation of the Twilight Saga. So until the next time, that's a wrap.